Hello and welcome to The Magic in You, where I'm here with Cait Johnson, who is a lifelong witch and author of Witch in the Kitchen, as well as 5 other magical books, including Witch Wisdom for the Magical Aging, Finding Your Power Through the Changing Seasons, and Celebrating the Great Mother, co-authored by Maura D. All of these are available where good books are sold. Cait is also an intuitive counsellor, editor, and a book midwife with a practice based in New York, Hudson Valley, where she lives in a 200-year-old house with a cat who actually looks more like a possum. So I'm just going to bring you onto the screen, Cait, and say thank you and welcome. I'm looking forward to talking about the magic in you.
Thank you for having me.
More than welcome. So why don't we get started? I mean, first I'm interested in this cat that looks like a possum, but can you sort of start off with how would you describe your current path and what exactly do you do?
You know, it's funny. I'm not a very formal witch. I don't do fancy ceremonies or rituals. I actually express my spirituality and my witchiness by cooking and decorating with the seasons. That's what lights my heart up. So I'm not only eclectic, I guess you could say I'm kind of a lazy witch, and I'm really I'm really into the ecstatic experience. That's what I love more than anything, is drumming and dancing and singing and sounding until you get out of your head. That's where my heart lies.
Sounds absolutely wonderful. And it sounds like when I started on my own witchcraft sort of path, that was a big element of it as well. And it still continues to be that sort of ecstatic aspect.
Oh,
You get yourself into trance and
that's
then you
it.
sort of shift consciousness.
Yep.
And so a lazy witch. So I would say that means more of a practical witch. You don't sort of separate your craft, as you said, your witchiness from everything else in your life. Is that correct? That
That's
encompasses
absolutely true.
everything.
It's not compartmentalized. I mean, I live with the seasons, I live with the elements. All of my books are elementally based and seasonally based, and that's how I live. So yeah, it's sort of one seamless whole. I have to admit though, I really I don't have enough of the ecstatic experience in my life right now. So I'm trying to figure out how I can bring more of that in. Also, for a while, I was a theater director and writer and producer, and we did some very wonderful, strange, shamanic sort of theater pieces, and I miss that. But we're all getting older, and we don't have time, or we don't have energy, or we can't remember our lines anymore. So, yeah, I've got to find some other outlet for that because it's really, oh, it was so enlivening, and it changed the audience. That was the point of it, to change everyone's consciousness. It was really fun.
No, definitely. And it sounds, yeah. I can certainly resonate with that because I started off by just spinning in my own circles by myself. And then you bring in the chanting. You can have, I'm not really a musical person when it comes to playing music myself. I do have a
Mhm.
couple of drums, but I usually can't hold a beat. But then it's that sort of like even clapping your hands or just vocalizing tones and things like that.
Yep.
And you sort of shift your consciousness that way.
You do. And if you're with other people, you entrain with them, which is wonderful. And everyone sort of gets into this zone. It's the magic. It's magic.
Yes. And it's almost like I'm thinking about something like that training and that sort of practice as opposed to what we see often depicted as magic today. And there's this separation where today it's almost like magic is external. You're doing something for an external goal. While here, especially through the more sort of shamanic trance aspect of it, it's the internal shift as well that really happens.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Well, you know, when I first started on the path when I was pretty young, it was all external. I wanted to do spells, I wanted to change reality. And now it's so much more about trying to get myself in sync with what is. So it's a big difference. I find I don't do spells anymore. That's not true. That's not true. I did a freezer spell because, as you probably know, the world is not in such great shape, and America is really not doing well. So I did a freezer spell, and you probably know what that is, right?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yeah.
For your listeners that don't, should I explain it? Because it's a
Yeah,
great little.
that would be good because it's something she said, it's a great little spell and it's something that anybody can do as well. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so what you do is you write on a piece of paper what you want to have frozen. In my case, I wanted to freeze the rise of fascism and white Christian nationalism, and I hope this doesn't offend any of your listeners. Anyway, I wrote that down. You roll it up, you fold it up, you put it in a little container, fill the container with water, and you put a rock on top to keep the paper submerged, and you stuff it in the back of your freezer. That's it. So simple. I really love simple stuff. I really do. Yeah, and I have used that spell before and it worked, which was
Mm.
great. It was a more personal reason at that point, but it worked. So I have hope that it will work. I hope so.
Yes, and I think it's yes, we all have hope. I think I'm not going to get down that sort of political aspect, but
Yeah.
yeah, we certainly I think a lot of us are sort of we're seeing that everywhere. It's not just in America. We're
Mm,
seeing the rise of it everywhere.
that's
So why
true.
don't we, yeah, turn the conversation from politics because it can
Yes.
be heated
Sorry.
and no
Uh-huh.
no and depressing. I mean, it is the real world, and this is another thing about witchcraft and your books, and you're talking about working with the seasons. It's the real world. It's like we work in and we live in the real world.
Hmm.
So it's like moving our magic into the everyday, into the real world. So how did you get started on your journey? What were your earlier influences? Did you have any teachers, or did you just pick up things as you went along?
Oh, when I was really young, I was a big reader. I started reading very young. And for some reason, even like at 6, 7, I was gravitating towards books about witches. And somehow I knew even then that they didn't have green skin and warts on their nose and an evil cackle, although it can be fun to cackle evilly. But anyway, so I knew that there was more to it than that. But it took me until had divorced my then husband and had met my very first practicing witch that it all fell into place. Her name is Jessie. She was the high priestess of a coven in Columbus, Ohio, which is where my then husband got into graduate school. And yeah, I took to it like a duck to water. But she was much more formal. Everyone had to wear black robes and they had pentacles dangling from every orifice. And we had scripts that we had to read from. And I thought, okay, it's good to meet witches. Yay. But I wanted that ecstatic experience that I've talked about. And so I sort of broke away and started my own little group. And to give Jessie credit, she came along too. And we met on full moon and we drummed and we danced and we sang and we got ecstatic. And it was exactly what my heart craved. But she was a wonderful teacher. And I realized meeting her that witches were a real thing, not just in fairy tales as somebody evil. It was great. And that was years ago. And then, of course, you read Starhawk, you read Diane Marie Child, you read Margot Atler. It goes on. So, yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
and Vicki Noble taught me so much through her Mother Peace deck. Oh, wow. The book that came with that really opened my eyes to so much. So, and Z Budapest, there have been wonderful teachers. Most of them, I accessed through books. But then I'm a reader, so that makes sense.
Yes, and this is the era before the internet, and we had to go seeking, and there weren't also a lot of books available or widely available either. It was like through the
Yeah,
bookshops, and if you didn't know about the books, well, that was it. You just didn't know about these people at all or their work.
it's
And
true.
yes, and I kind
Now
of
you
think
can't throw a rock without hitting 2 or 3 books about witches. It's really amazing.
talking about that, because you've written your own books about witchcraft, witch in the kitchen in particular. So you said right from the beginning that you call yourself sort of like a lazy witch, a kitchen witch. So is
Yeah.
witch in the kitchen sort of about what you actually do yourself in your own practice and how to sort of simplify that, or is it all about something completely different?
It's a cookbook, actually. It's a vegetarian cookbook, and it's very seasonal, and it includes meditations and rituals and little spells, and they're all food-based. And it was so much fun to do. I gained 20 pounds when I was doing the cooking and researching for it. It was great. And it's really about bringing a sense of magic back into cooking and eating. Because, right now in this culture, I mean, you're lucky if you have the time to nuke a burrito, right? And call it dinner. But this is about rediscovering that because I think that recipes are spells. And so, you have the intention, it's going to be delicious and it's going to nurture you and your loved ones. And, you put the ingredients in just as you would make a potion. You stir it, you chop, you stir it, you chop, and, you cook it and then you serve it with love. To me, cooking can change the whole vibe of a family or a self. Did you ever see the movie Babette's Feast? It's old
Mm.
now. It's an old film. Oh, it's beautiful. It's about a woman. It takes place in the 1800s, and she's escaping France where there was so much trouble. She lands on some Scandinavian shore and lives with these two elderly spinster women, and she teaches them about the glory of food because they were kind of living on, cardboard, tasting stuff and fish. And it's really a beautiful film, and it shows how food can just make magic for people. So that was what I wanted to do. I just wanted to bring that sense of magic back into cooking.
It reminded me of I think it was a Spanish film too. Is it like Water for Chocolate? And it's
Yeah. Yep.
yeah,
That's a
you know
good
the one I'm
one.
talking about
I
when she puts
do.
her emotions into the wedding feast because she fell in love with this guy who
Yeah.
married her sister and she had to cook the meal
Ouch.
and it's got all her emotions.
Yeah.
And it said, yeah, it's bringing in this sort of magical element. But as you also mentioned, we live in a world where everything's rush, 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 and we eat.
It's true.
Well, we have, especially here in Australia, we have crops and vegetables and are available all year round, and we forget about the seasonal magic, the produce that are available only at certain times of the year. And
Yeah,
I think, and when it comes to witchcraft, that helps
it
bring us
makes you
back into,
appreciate.
yeah,
Well, there's a
bringing
whole
us.
movement now, the local food movement, the slow food movement, and I'm a big fan. Yeah, I love it. And you appreciate things when they come into season, whereas if you can get them all year round, it's like, ho hum, okay, a strawberry in January. But when you wait until June or July when they're ripe, oh, they taste so much better. And of course, organic whenever possible, because it's better for the earth, it's better for our bodies. So yeah, I mean, all of that is sort of in my book. But it's not
Mm.
preachy. It's fun. It was meant to be fun.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it sort of brings back the joy,
Yeah.
giving ourselves a little bit more time to actually savor the food that we eat, think about where it came from, who grew it, who prepared it, as opposed to, um, and there's so much artificial stuff in our food these
Oh,
days. So there's benefits upon benefits upon benefits of
yeah.
getting back closer to nature and eating more seasonally as well.
Well, right. And of course, witchcraft was once based around the wheel of the year, which was agricultural. And we've really lost touch with that unless you're a farmer, which I'm not, but I have friends that farm and I have friends that belong to community supported agriculture, which is great. So, yeah, you start to feel like you're part of the great round rather than something apart from it, which is
Mm.
great.
Yes, yes, with the ebbing and flowing of things and realizing that, yes, there's times where, there's lots of abundance. And I think we can
Mhm.
look at that in our own lives. There's times of abundance, and then there's times
Yeah.
when things go very quiet and we're meant to go inwards, we're meant to sit, even if our modern world doesn't allow us to sit, but we can
Yeah.
still sort of do that internally. And I think this
Mhm.
is what we are missing in our world. We don't allow ourselves those times of rest. We go, go,
Oh.
go, go all the time.
Well, to me, that's the lesson of winter. And maybe that's why I love it so much, is because really, I mean, it's hard to get around in the Hudson Valley if there's an ice storm or something. And it just gives us an excuse to hunker down and be at peace inside ourselves, which I love that. So, and of course, you're going into summer, so it's very different. But here, we're all starting to, light candles and get out the cozy sweaters and stuff. So, yeah.
Mm.
That is a lesson our culture has forgotten, the importance of gestating and being still and
Mm.
recovering, taking rest time.
Yes, yes, which sort of is a nice segue into my next question. And that is, how do you think your path has shaped you? Has either improved your life or there's been moments where you feel that it's actually supported you, like during times of darker times and times
Oh,
of
yeah.
loss? Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what I would have done without my spiritual practice. And in some ways, I would say that my practice is almost more shamanic. My headspace is more shamanic, meaning that I think everything is alive and everything has consciousness of some kind or another, even the rocks and the trees, and they all have something that they can teach us. And to get ecstatic and out of yourself, as we've said. Um, if I didn't have that, I feel so sorry for people who don't have that as a ground of belief because you could just go crazy with no problem today. This is not a people-loving culture. It's not. And it's so lovely to find like-minded others and to have the certainty inside yourself that there is wisdom to be gained everywhere and that you actually do have some power to change things, if not outside yourself, certainly inside yourself. So yeah, and I've gone through loss as we all have. You get to be my age, which is 73. And it's funny, we just did a big Samhain thing here at my house, and I have a hearth that I can't use. It's been blocked up. But anyway, I put all the pictures of my beloved dead in the hearth. And as I said to my friend, wow, it's getting crowded in there. And that's what happens. You hit 73, and yeah, it starts getting crowded in there. So yeah, there have been losses, but feeling that the departed are not really gone is a great comfort. So I still talk to my dead parents. I still talk to my dead cat. In fact, I keep seeing him out of the corner of my eye. He just passed at the end of August, leaving me with the one that looks like a possum. So yeah, he was black. He was gorgeous. Anyway, did that answer your question, Francis?
Yes, it did. And I think this is something that, again, if we live in a, oh, I want to say superficial world, but it's fast becoming very sort of like superficial. We lose the
Mhm.
humanity, as I was talking about off camera. But then we also, and this ties into what you were talking about before of how your craft is very much connected in with the wheel of the year and the times of loss and the times of abundance. And that fallow time, we don't allow ourselves that quiet time where we go within, where we also breathe. And it's
Mhm.
okay to grieve. I mean, I think we're actually in a world that, especially in the Western world, where we've lost that ability or that
Yeah.
space
Mhm.
to properly grieve. And
Yeah.
it's not seen accepted anymore. We're, oh yeah, get over it. Yes, we're
Yeah.
sad, but
Yeah.
time to move on. We're so
Mhm.
focused on production and producing things, but in order to
Inhuman.
become, yeah, and again,
Yeah.
it's taken away
I have a
that's humanness. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend whose husband died far too young, and boy, they were very close, and she loved him deeply. And I swear, 2 weeks after he had passed, a friend called her up and said, "Okay, it's time for you to get out there now." What? What? So I've seen so many people. I used to date a man who was a hospice volunteer, and I've seen how different people go through grief, and everyone does it differently. But I'm here to tell you, the people that take the time to grieve do better overall than the ones who try to push through it. I'm just going to go back to work. I'm going to, that doesn't work. You have to allow your heart to feel what it feels even though the culture is saying, no, no, like you were saying, produce, produce. It's insane. And it's no accident that the disease that is taking so many lives now is cancer. It's like, okay, keep producing, keep producing. All those little malignant cells. I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's not good.
Mm, mm. And also the realization that everybody grieves, or even we will do things in our own way, and it's
Right.
a different perspective, and it can appear differently to everyone else. And I'm
Hmm.
just thinking, comparing that to, say, Joe is yeah, I live in a very superficial world where everything is like it's based on somebody's idea of perfection, and we're all us trying to strive to it. And I
Yeah,
think the
right.
craft itself gives us the guidance to say, no, it's if we turn to nature more, we can look at, and I like to call it the imperfect or the yeah, the perfection within the imperfection. It's just like we're all unique, we're
Yeah.
all worthy in our own way, and there is no sort of mold that we need to fit into.
Oh, goodness, no. And in fact, I'm really a big fan of being messy, in my craft. It doesn't, yeah, I'm kind of allergic to perfection because it can drive you nuts. I think it was Anne Lamott that said that. It's like a Nazi in your head and it'll drive you crazy because you can never get there. And why would you want to
Mm,
anyway? As you were saying, it's great to be imperfectly perfect or perfectly imperfect. So, yeah, just, you know what? I think witchcraft gives people permission to do it their way, right? And to do it with joy, because that's part of
mm,
it too. Or grief, whichever. It's like allowing whatever feeling has you right now. Does that make
mm.
sense?
It does. And just thinking, if we're looking at grief, and I really don't know how we got onto this little bandwagon, but well, that's fine. This is where it meant to go. And because you are such a shamanic practitioner too, when we've got emotions locked into our bodies, it's through
Mm,
that sort of trance work, that dancing, that ecstatic experience that we can release and feel that freedom as well. And also
absolutely.
experience what we're going through, and
Hmm.
then can bring back that joy as
Yes.
well.
I have a friend who was diagnosed with a pretty severe breast cancer, and she went to see all these different healers, and in many of them, she had to sit there, wear white, listen to someone going on and on. She tried everything, and then she met someone that was into ecstatic drumming and dancing, and she did that, and I got us, it cured her. So I think cancer is afraid of ecstasy and joy. I think it thrives on stress. And God
Yeah.
knows we've got plenty of stress in this culture. So, yeah, the more joyful we can be, the better, if we can.
Yes. Yeah. And finding joy in the simple little things as well.
Hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there anything that, because you've been a witch for a long time now,
I
is there
have.
anything that you know now that you wish that you knew when you first started your journey?
Oh, that's such a good question. What do I know now? Well, I guess it's really about a shift in the way I practice. I wish I had known in the beginning that I didn't need to be so, doing spells all the time, although it was fun. It was great. And I think that's how many of us get started because it's very attractive. We don't feel powerless anymore. There's something we can do, especially important for women, which is why I think the craft is so good for women. It makes us feel powerful in a culture that doesn't really like us very much. So, but I wish I could tell my younger self, listen, you know what? Get yourself into sync with the seasons, with the wheel of the year, with other people who are seekers like you. And don't worry so much about doing the spells. You don't need to do that. And you don't need to be formal.
Mm, mm. And talking about how the craft is beneficial for women, I mean, it's also beneficial for men, but for women in particular, because you have written a book, celebrating the Great Mother, and
Mhm.
also a book on magical aging. Are these books sort of like guidebooks for women to sort of express, get in touch with the great round, which is nature and Mother Earth, that sort of magic, that belief inside them, or are these books about something completely different?
Well, celebrating the Great Mother is just a list of things to do with your children. But what I found is that so many people that don't even have children are using the book because they're very simple, really fun ritual ideas. What you put on your altar, say for Samhain as opposed to Imbolc, things like that. Little hands-on arts and crafts activities that bring you into sync with the seasons. So that's fun. Witch wisdom for magical aging, because I'm aging, I thought, well, my books have always sort of reflected where I am. And I'm telling you, if you think it's rough being a young woman, try being an older woman. Yeah, it's not easy. So I thought, okay, we could use a guidebook because really we've never aged before. So everything that changes in us is new to us, just as it was when we first became, pubescent. So yes, it's again seasonal and it's how to take care of your body, how to find like-minded spirits, how to make your home feel like a magical nest, all of that. And it was really fun to write.
Mm, mm, mm.
Hmm.
And as you mentioned, especially for women, when we get older, we seem to become more and more invisible.
Hmm.
Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. I look at the world today and going, oh, I'm quite happy to be invisible. But but as you said, witchcraft also gives us that sense of power
Hmm.
within, even if the world is ignoring us from without. And
Hmm.
when we find like-minded people, we're beginning to realize that we're not alone. That, I mean, I'm thinking of the images that we see of the the bubbas or the babushkas sitting
Oh,
around the
yes.
and the magic that they create, and this sort of ties back into what you were talking earlier about magic and the food. It's just like not everything needs to be all glamour and glittery and
God.
look at a lot of magic. And I think this is something you begin to realize as you get older. It's very subtle and I wouldn't say manipulative, but it is in a way. You can do things without people realizing, and that's a gift of aging.
Well, there's a great liberation in not being visible because I don't know about you, but I was always taught that I had to look, a certain way. And it got exhausting. And after a certain age, you're like, I just don't care. I don't care if people think I'm attractive. I don't care. And wow, that frees up so much energy. Plus, you can become a stealth crone. You can kind of fly under the radar and affect things. That is, yes, getting older is not easy. Things start to fall apart, depending on, your genetics and your health and all that stuff. But at the same time, there's a wonderful freedom in it because you just don't care about so much. There's actually something on Facebook that I watch. Her name is Melanie, and she has started a club calling it's called the We Just Don't Care Club, and it's for women in perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. And I get it. There's so many things we just don't care about anymore. That frees us up to care about the things that we do care about. Much of what society says we should care about, who cares, really, right? So you look like you're too young to be worried about any of this yet, but you'll get there.
I think I've got good genes. I'm a lot
Yeah, that
older,
helps.
but yes, and it's just like I'm thinking we've sort of moved like in modern culture that the witch who's the old hag with the
Yeah.
green skin and the what to the
Mhm.
very sexy nubile sort of maiden sort of like come hither, but there's nothing in
Mhm.
between.
Right.
It's just like, yes, why can't we be like a sexy old crone? Or, as you said, we really don't care. We're doing it more for ourselves than for
Right.
anybody else.
That's right. Not to attract the male gaze or the female gaze, depending on your orientation. Who cares? But yeah, it is so freeing. And one thing I've started doing is collecting pictures of really, in my mind, beautiful old crones. Many native cultures really get it about the beauty of the old woman. I mean, the wrinkles, they look like dried stream beds, and they're gorgeous because they have dignity and spirit, and that shines through their eyes. I look at some of these poor women that have had all this work done, and it's like there's nobody home. It's like, honey, why? And the more indigenous people, indigenous women look like they have plenty of spirit shining through those eyes, and they don't care that their faces are wrinkled and their hair is gray and sparse. So yeah, that's the thing. We are bombarded by images of the young and nubile, as you were saying, the sexy. I think we need to balance it out and find images of those gorgeous old crones who are unabashed. And as you were saying, the babas, the babushkas, they're so great. There's a wisdom there, and we can all key into it. And I love
Yes.
that.
So what advice would you give to a seeker? Someone just came up to you because you mentioned that how you got started on your path. You met your or you read a lot of books and then you also met, I don't know if I recall correctly, Jess, who helped
Mhm.
guide you, even though it wasn't a little bit more sort of formal to what you naturally have been drawn to. If someone
Mhm.
came across and said, "Hey, Cait, can you teach me?" What advice would you offer them?
Oh, I think it's a lovely thing to have mentees, to be a mentor for the younger generation. I mean, I have clients because I have a counseling practice. I wouldn't say that I'm teaching them how to be witches exactly, but certainly I'm helping them, I hope, to feel empowered and make positive life choices. Because I think that is one of the bases of witchcraft. So, yeah, I mean, if people are lucky enough to find a mentor, go for it. And if you find, as I did, that you love your mentor and she teaches you a lot, but it's not quite right, then you're ready to go and start your own thing. And books are great. You don't have to meet wonderful people in person to benefit from their wisdom. So, yeah. And I bet you've had a lot of really interesting people on this podcast, right?
I have, and this is why I've
Yeah.
been doing it and just sort of showing people, especially the younger generation, that there's different ways of doing things. I mean, I'm actually initiated into a particular tradition, but I've
Hmm.
always been a seeker. And
Yes.
just because I don't do things someone else's way doesn't mean that I'm not interested in knowing what they do and why they do it. I'm sort of one of these people I like to know behind the scenes stuff as to
Yeah.
what actually rocks your world, sorts of things. So what does rock your world? Why are you still a witch after all this time? What is
After
this about witchcraft that sort of still gets you getting up in the morning and wanting to call yourself a witch, considering
oh,
it's I think it's a word that's changed a lot. It's very hotly
mhm.
debated these days. But,
Yeah.
why do you still want to be a witch?
Oh, it's just the beauty of it, the poetry of it, the magic of it, the seasonal spirit of it, and feeling that that I'm part of it. I just love it. I mean, I guess it boils down to love and beauty. So when you really allow yourself to open to the magic of each season, it's a source, a never-ending source of wonder. And I really think that's part of it too. I think we tend to observe more. I mean, I don't, you probably know the poet Mary Oliver. She really talks about that, about the importance of just noticing things and just being with things. And then if you want, you can tell about it. So be creative with it is also something that I really love. So that's why,
Mm.
it's a wonderful antidote to what I see as being wrong with this culture. And it's just as the source of beauty and joy. Why are you still a witch?
I don't know. It's just we were talking about this, before I hit record, and it's just like I didn't really know much about witchcraft until I kind of fell into it, and it's just
Ah,
something that resonated with me, and I can't
right.
explain it. There's been times
Mhm.
when I've tried to walk away, or I thought, oh, it doesn't work, or I'm not. In these days, I'm not doing a practice, whatever a practice is. I've never had a practice. I've always been. So it's sort
Right.
of like it just explains me. But
Right.
without sounding too
I
egotistical, it's just like, yeah, it's always
know.
been there.
It's who you are. Same here. I think from youngest childhood. When I was really little, my parents, I don't know, they were pretty liberal. They let me light fires when I was 10 years old in the backyard, and I used to dance around the fire. I mean, I didn't know that that was something that people actually did or that our ancestors all did, but it was something I wanted to do so badly. So,
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I think it's bred in the bone. And I actually think, what was it, that line from Practical Magic? There's a little witch in every woman. It's
Yeah.
true. And men too, right? Yeah.
Yes, and I think too, especially in the Western culture, as you said, it's sort of one way we've lost so much of our, excuse me, sort of our heritage, our connection with the earth. And many of
Hmm.
us are living in suburbia, and but this way, there's just something about it, especially as you said, when we realize that it's more than lighting candles and making spell jars and getting
Hmm.
moon water and all these other things that I'm going, why are you doing this? But to me, it's more about getting back into the ebb and flow. And you've been talking all about the seasons and
Yeah.
getting back into that very simple cyclic
Hmm.
nature that's all around us that
Yeah.
I think also helps us mentally, spiritually, emotionally,
Hmm.
um, and even physically on all levels as well.
I totally agree. A shaman friend of mine taught me a very simple practice that if your listeners are interested, they could try. It has been life-changing. I go out every morning barefoot, unless I'm going to get hypothermia or frostbite or something. Then I have a rock inside that I use. But I go out barefoot, I stand on the earth, and I just say my morning prayers, to the earth mother, to the sky god. And it's so interesting because not only do I feel connected to bigger powers than me, but also I see how things change every day, especially in spring and fall. In winter and summer, things are pretty much the same for a long time, like you hit a plateau and that's kind of it for a while. But oh, to watch the way things come into season and then die down and then come back and then die down. It's so beautiful to be the loving witness of all of that. So simple practice, but it's really been great for me.
Mm, mm. And there's something that someone else mentioned, I can't remember who, but they were talking about how ungrounded we are in
Ugh,
this modern age, because even our shoes.
Mhm.
The soles of leather. They used to be, wood or more natural materials, but
Mhm.
we don't have that connection with the earth, even if we are in a multi-story building. We've lost that connection, that barefoot on the ground connection that we used to have. So a simple
Yes.
practice, even if it is just for 5 minutes of
Mhm.
acknowledging nature as you first get up in the morning, um,
Yes.
can help immensely, especially I'm thinking of our mental health as well, because we
Absolutely.
can't.
It's funny. People pay hundreds of dollars to take, workshops on how to get grounded. It's like, folks, go outside barefoot, sit with your back against a tree on the ground. That will ground you. And now people are paying hundreds of dollars for grounding shoes and grounding sheets. Okay, that's fine. But, really, it can be so simple. If you're in the city, it's a little more difficult. You have to find a park or somewhere where you feel safe that you can take your shoes off and just be in contact with the earth. But yeah, if you have a yard, it's great. By the way, a native teacher that I studied with named Oshina, she's since passed, told me something that really stuck with me. She said, "Did you know that concrete sidewalks in the city, they're largely made up of bits of crystal? So if you walk on the sidewalk with a deep intention, you will broadcast that intention out into the world through your feet." I thought that was interesting. I had not thought about that. So,
That's yes, it's these simple little things that
mhm.
we forget about, and even like feeling the breeze on our face, if we're in the building, just feeling nature around us, the sun on our skin, even getting caught in the rain, how cleansing
Yes.
that can be. And it
Yep.
reminds us getting back into nature. And
Yeah.
but yes, I think of our cities are, the concrete and steel, and it's just like, yes, but what are they made out of? Nature.
Nature. That's right.
Mm.
Everything is. It's funny you should mention how you can get cleansed by the rain. I had a friend who's also a client stay here for a private workshop for 8 days, and she did some really intense work. And at one point, it was raining, and she went outside and just let the rain like bathe her. And it was really profound. So, yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. We have the means to be healthier mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, right at our fingertips. So it's good to remember it. I think that's part of witchcraft too.
That sounds fantastic. And I think that's a good place for us to sort of just look at our practice. And I'm thinking this for anybody who's watching this, and
Mm.
see what is in it that really truly resonates,
Right.
and how you can actually simplify your own witchiness, getting
Yeah.
back into the natural realm. Because obviously this is a big part of your own sort of more shamanic, static practice, is
Mhm.
nature itself as the sort of like
Absolutely.
the central pole on which everything
Yeah.
rotates.
I think people tend to want to make things more elaborate than they need to be. And if that's your path, go for it. If it's fun for you, if it feels good, if it helps to make you feel whatever. But it can be so very simple. And another thing that I haven't really talked about much is to be creative. I mentioned it, is that to be creative with natural materials is another really wonderful. I mean, we as a species have been makers for millennia. And we've gotten away from that. We just click a button and order things. It's so profound when you make your own things. I just dried some orange slices and made a garland. So easy. And so it smells good and it looks good and they're like little suns. I don't know. It's just fun. So I
Mhm.
like to do that too. And I bet a lot of the people listening do too. And you don't have to be a poet or write, music or paint gorgeous artwork, whatever. If you can, great. But what matters is to just make something that you have put your energy into and then display it because that really feels good.
Yes, and I think that's more important than just, and as you said, a click of the button, and the next minute Temu or Amazon have delivered this ecstatically pleasing thing that has no soul. That's often
Thank
made
you.
of plastic.
Yep.
Um, and there is, I mean, I'm thinking about even my wand. It was a fruit tree. Don't even ask me what fruit tree it was. It was a branch that I found at the back of my yard back in the
Oh,
day. That I
yeah.
got some sandpaper and I just sanded it down, and I still use it to this day. And it's very
I think
simple.
that's
It's Yeah.
Wonderful. Yep. My son would really not want to be labeled psychic, which he is, or a witch, which he is. He would never say he was. But when he was little, he took a piece of wood that he had found and he just polished that thing forever, and it was his magic wand. He's always been drawn to it, I think, but because, I'm his mom, he has to find his own path. But yeah, you can see the signs in the little ones, which is really fun,
Mm-hmm.
and guide them and have fun with them, play with them. I'm teaching my granddaughter how to make potions. We really have a good time.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. We are unfortunately running out of time, Kate, and I've just lost my headphone. Here we go. So, if people want to find out more about you, get in touch with you, where can they go?
Okay, I have a website and my name is spelled oddly. It's spelled Cait Johnson, Johnsson, all one word, Cait Johnson at .com. That's yeah, and I also have Cait P. Johnson at Gmail. That's my personal email address, which I will give to your listeners if they would like it. Cait P is in Petunia, which isn't really my middle name. So Cait P. Johnson at gmail.com or CaitJohnson.com. So, yeah, I would love to hear from people if they have questions. I also do counseling, sort of intuitive counseling, where we deal with dreams and sometimes we look at imagery, and it's a whole different thing than just talk therapy. And knock on wood, it seems to be very effective for people. And I love doing book midwifery. That's my other thing.
Oh, so can you tell us a little bit about that? So what is midwifery? I can't even pronounce the word.
It's hard. Yeah. If someone has an idea for a book, I can help them bring it into being. And there's just nothing more satisfying. So, and I love editing. I love rewriting. It's just that's one of my passions actually, is to help people get their words as true as they can get them and then get them out to the world.
And that's another beautiful creative expression as well.
Mm.
So, Kate, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and your magic about you today. It's been a delight to be speaking with you.
Oh, right back at you. You were so much fun. So thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody listening.
And also to find out more about Kate, her email address and also her webpage will be listed below this recording.
Thank
So
you.
blessings.
Many blessings to you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.